Hey students, welcome back to these devotional videos. And again, we are in the middle of Holy Week. And in our reading plan, it's been really cool to see how what we've been reading, it really points directly to this Easter story. In fact, today's reading, we're in Romans chapter 5, verses 12 through 21. And if your Bible is like mine, it has little subtitles over certain sections. And this one in my Bible is titled, Death in Adam, Life in Christ. And what this is all about is how when Adam and Eve sinned, that first sin occurred, sin entered the world for every single human being. Because of that first original sin, you and I are sinners, and there's nothing we can do about it. But just like sin entered the world through one man, we also read that life enters the world through another man, and that man is Jesus. In fact, look at verse 18 in Romans chapter 5, and it says this through 19. Therefore, as one trespass led to condemnation for all men, so one act of righteousness leads to justification and life for all men. For as by the one man's disobedience the many were made sinners, so by the one man's obedience the many will be made righteous. Because again, if you remember back to Monday's reading in Genesis 3, when the fall occurred, consequence entered into the world. And that consequence for our sin is ultimately death. But then Jesus enters the world, as Micah talked about in Luke and the genealogy in the birth of Jesus. When Jesus entered the world, life entered the world. And we look forward to Good Friday and Easter and celebrating the death and the burial and the resurrection of Jesus. Why is that good news for us? Because life comes through that. One act of disobedience led for sin for all the world. But then one act of obedience through Jesus on Easter leads to salvation to the world. So as we look forward to Good Friday, as we look forward to Easter, my question to you, similar to Micah's question to you, is who do you know that needs to hear this story? Who do you know that needs to hear about the one act of obedience that leads to life for all if they put their trust in the person, life, act of Jesus? This week, read this story, dwell on that, the fact that yes, we're all sinners, but we can have life because of Jesus.